What's happening? What's happening? Hey, been getting some questions from some younger investors, like in their 20s and even in their teens, about purchasing their first home and asking the question, is it a good time to buy a home? When is a good time to buy? How do I get started? And what I'm going to tell you in this video is right now, at this point in time, August 2022, it's not the great optimum time to buy a home. I'm going to give you a couple reasons why. And I'm also going to talk about three things you want to think about, three advantages that you will have to purchase in a home. But really the purpose of this video is to tell you why right now is not the best time to buy. However, it is a good time to plan to buy. And then in the future, you're going to have two distinct advantages if you wait just a little bit longer, possibly over the course of 6 months to a year, maybe even a little bit longer than that. And then some advantages to buying and some things that you'll have going for you if you do want to make that first investment. So three things to consider in terms of advantages to buying a home. The first one is that you can build equity. So if you're renting a home right now or renting an apartment, really you're just paying somebody else that money. You're not building any equity. You're not building any ownership. You don't have any value, anything that you could sell and then make money. And that really is equity. You're not doing that if you're renting. And so this first distinct advantage to buying a home is you get to build equity. So if you buy a home, let's say for $300,000, we're going to use that for the purpose of this video. I'm going to use that number to measure some advantages off of and some tax advantages and different metrics. So if you purchase a home for $300,000 and then you turn around and sell that, keep that for, let's say 3 years, 5 years, something like that, and that goes up in value over time. Let's say it goes up to $400,000. Then if you purchase it for $300,000, sell it for $400,000, you will have made a profit of $100,000. That's equity. So the first distinct advantage to buying a home is you can build equity. Whereas if you're renting, you will not build that equity. You're just paying someone else that rent. The second advantage to buying a home is that you get a tax advantage, so you can deduct the interest. So if you're on a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage, you can deduct that interest from your taxes. And so that's the second advantage to owning a home and paying into that, is that you can deduct those expenses, such as the interest expenses, interest payments on your mortgage, and also certain repairs and certain other costs, and then local taxes and other things like that. So you'll have some tax advantages to that. The third advantage to owning a home, after equity and after tax benefits and tax advantages, the third advantage to buying a home is that you could borrow against that equity. Once you have equity built up, you could potentially borrow against that in the form of a home equity loan. And I don't necessarily recommend going out and getting more into more debt and getting more loans, but you would have that third advantage. After building equity and then after the tax advantages, you would have the ability for a home equity loan to take out that money and then use that money, use equity in the form of investment income, in the form of a loan that you would take, and you could invest that money. So a couple of things to think about right now, and this is why I recommend that it's not a great time to buy a home right now, but it is a good time to plan, to look around, shop around, look for some different options. The two biggest reasons right now why I don't think it's a great time to buy is because interest rates are still pretty high. So right now the average rate on a 30-year mortgage, if you qualified for a 30-year mortgage at the best rate, it's right in the fives somewhere, maybe a little bit lower. So what that means is if you have a $300,000 home, that the purchase price is $300,000, and you are paying, let's say 20% down, 10 to 20% down, something like that, in that ballpark, you're going to borrow about $240,000. And I'll go into depth in another video where I talk about some of those metrics, and then I'll show you some of those numbers, what they look like in a home mortgage calculator. But if you took out a $240,000 loan, keep in mind the purchase price is $300,000, and then you pay about 10% down, so you're borrowing about $240,000. You put that into a 30-year loan at about 5.5% in that ballpark somewhere, you're going to be paying pretty close to about $1,300 a month, your principal and interest, not even including your other expenses such as home insurance, fire insurance, different insurances that you're going to be required to have on that home policy, and then also the taxes, real estate taxes and local property taxes. That could be $300 or $400 on top of that $1,300 a month. So Right now, if you purchase a home, you're kind of at a disadvantage because that interest rate is so high. If that interest rate comes down, which I believe it will, I believe that interest rate will come down probably in about 6 months or in a year. Those rates are going to come down probably into the fours. And even if you could get into a 15-year loan, something like that, your home payment, your home mortgage monthly payment would be higher, but you would reduce the total amount of interest you're paying. And no matter what, it's going to come down in about 6 months to a year, maybe closer to a year. So I think it's your advantage to wait right now for that first reason, because interest rates are going to come down. The second reason why I think you should not buy right now, but you should shop around and look around and plan to buy in the future, maybe in that 6 month to a year time horizon timeline. The second reason is because I think the prices are coming down. The prices will continue to come down. They're coming down right now, and we're in August. They have been coming down the last couple months, especially and more precipitously in certain markets. So depending on where you're at, especially in the West Coast, certain places in the South and the East, they're coming down more rapidly, those home prices. So it behooves you to wait. Even if you can wait 6 months or a year, just plan right now, and then in 6 months to a year, purchase that home. Once you have your down payment set aside, once you're approved for the loan, you're going to get a better deal, because prices are just going to continue to come down. So remember, 3 advantages to buying a home, to owning a home: equity, you build equity. Second one is tax purposes, tax benefits, tax advantages for tax deductions. And then the third reason is because you could potentially, the third advantage you could have is if you wanted to take a home equity loan, you could take that against your equity in your home. You'd have to pay that back, but you could use that money to invest. And 2 reasons right now, I think it's in your best interest to wait, potentially 6 months or a year, maybe even a little bit longer. Right now, save up that money, save up that down payment, and wait, because interest rates are going to come down, prices are going to come down. You're going to get a better deal, maybe to the tune of hundreds of dollars a month. So that's my advice. That's what I have for you. Be peaceful. See you next time.